Alright guys, here's the job for today. I've got a CV axle that's going in on the driver's side of my 03 Taurus. Yesterday, or actually the day before, I already put in a new axle on this side, and apparently the new axle I got was bad out of the box. So here I am doing it again, and I've seen a couple videos online of some guys showing you how to do this. I've seen some different things that they do that I don't do, and vice versa. But I'll show you how I do it, and you can take your own opinion from there. But anyways, so there's the axle in the box. This first one. This one up here is my old one, and the one in the car is the new one that's bad. I've got to pull it out. I already went ahead when the car was on the ground, popped the cap off, and with the breaker bar just broke the torque on the axle nut, so that's already done. So we're going to pull the tire off and get this thing started. Alright guys, the way I do this, some videos I've seen, they leave the caliper, rotor, caliper bracket, they leave all that on the spindle. It takes only a minute to pull this stuff off. It's easier to just go ahead and take it off, get it out of the way, and it makes things a lot easier and a lot lighter to work with. So we're going to get the brake component off, set it out of the way, and we'll go from there. Alright, one thing I did just there, I didn't tell you, there's a 10mm bolt that holds on the bracket for the brake cable, and then for the ABS cable as well. So take that off and then pull the caliper off, and then you can set it out of the way. Also helps to have something to put the caliper on so you don't dangle it by the cable, as that will destroy your cable in a heartbeat, and then you'll have all sorts of issues. Brake pads. I got that, and of course I didn't grab the right size. That figures. Apparently last time I put those two on, I over-tightened this a little bit. That's alright. Okay, so here's the caliper bracket, rotor. Okay, now we've got that off. Let's go ahead and spin the rest of this axle nut off. Done. Okay. Next we're going to take the sway bar link off. I find it easiest to use a boxed in 18mm wrench for the big nut there, and for the actual bolt itself, it's got a nut on it. You can probably see the angle cut in it. Best thing I use for that is a ratcheting boxed in, and it goes right over there, and then I just turn the actual stud or the bolt and hold the nut still. So we'll get that off here. Now that I broke the nut loose, I'm going to put this on there and start ratcheting it. That's it for sway bar link. Now the tie rod end under here, we've got a castle nut with the cotter pin. I'm going to take the cotter pin off and loosen the castle nut, take it off, and then I'll show you the pitman arm, how to pop that tie rod end out of there. Sometimes this can be a little tricky. Okay, got the nut and cotter pin off. So we're going to use the pitman arm bracket, and we're going to put it in like so. Sorry about the lighting here. There we go. Maybe I'll see a little bit better. So the pitman arm is going to go straight up underneath there. It's going to be centered, and then just press it up against the bolt and tighten the pitman arm down. And sometimes you can tap on the spindle, the aluminum side here, with the hammer. Not real hard, just a couple taps just to vibrate it, and it'll help break that mechanical weld loose, make it a little bit easier, less wear and tear. Okay, mine was already broken a couple times over the last couple of weeks, so it didn't take much to pop it out this time. So we've got that off. Now we spin this around. Alright, clamp for the ABS cable. Just pull it up, pull it off, then deal. Let's see. Okay. Lower ball joint. We're going to take the cotter pin and the castle nut off of here. That's off. Now we're using should be a 22 millimeter socket. Okay, that's off. Okay, now the quickest way to do this, take the same pitman arm pulley you just had for the tie rod end. You're going to sneak it up and over the top of the control arm. It fits perfect. Screw the bolt up against the lower ball joint, and repeat the process just like the tie rod end. Tighten it down. And once again, this one came off really easily. Usually, once I put this back together yesterday, you can imagine I only had 2 miles of driving on it, so the mechanical weld didn't really have a whole lot of time to really sink itself in there and get stuck, so it came out pretty easily. Now we're going to take off the pinch bolt off the strut. Okay, now I have my tools in order now. Okay. Now, a little secret for anybody working with pinch bolts. That pinch bolt will get stuck in that spindle. So, from past experiences learned, thread the nut back on a couple threads. Take your hammer and hit the nut to hammer the bolt out, instead of hitting the bolt itself, because you will damage the threads and you won't like the result of that. So just a little heads up for you. Usually I'll take a bar, stick it in the hole in the control arm, push it down. I can pull up on the spindle and it comes right off the control arm. Here's the washer for the CV axle. Hang on to that. The new axles do not come with them. Okay. Now I can push the axle back out of the way. I'm now ready to pull the axle out. Some of these will pull right out, some of them you have to get in there and pry it out. So we're going to pry this one out. I'm going to get up underneath the frame, up into the tranny. Get up in there. Get the spindle out of the way. Okay, sometimes it needs a little persuasion from a hammer, but that's the gist of it. Here's the axle. That side seems alright. Okay, alright, let's get the other one out. Installation is same as removal. No tricks or gimmicks there. Just do it the same way you undid it. Just make sure you line the axle up on the spline on the transmission. You definitely don't want to ruin the teeth on that. It's you'll be getting yourself a new transmission real quick. Okay, I know a lot of you guys will not recommend this, but I do it anyways, I don't care. Put the nut on the end of the CV axle, straighten it out, and give it a couple taps to make sure the tulip here on the end of the CV axle seats itself on the snap ring in there. And you shouldn't be able to pull that out, it should be stuck in there now after it's seated. So we're good to go there. And so now we're just going to put it all back together again.